Hello, and welcome to Comics Talk. Today we are going to be discussing a comic book that is so good you have to read it with your own eyes. Today we're going to be discussing Marvel Comics Star Wars C-3PO The Phantom Limb by James Robinson and Tony Harris. This is probably not the best thing that Marvel is doing with their Star Wars universe, which I highly recommend to everyone. Their Darth Vader book is fantastic, their core book is great. This is something that all Star Wars fans should be getting into. The reason I'm talking about this standalone C-3PO issue is because it deals with all kinds of things that I've never seen dealt with in Star Wars before. This is a story of C-3PO on a Resistance freighter which crashes. This Resistance freighter is carrying droids. They are carrying a First Order droid prisoner. Their goal to reach a transmitter to transmit their coordinates and escape. This tells a tale of them crossing a very dangerous planet, all the different droids running into different problems and situations. Their various droid talents help them get through. The important thing about this book isn't the adventure story itself, but the greater concept that it covers. And the greater concept that it covers is that droids, with their memories being erased as often as they are, have no real idea whether they are allies or enemies. They are only allies and enemies according to their programming. But at the core, they are all droids who could have at one point in time been Imperials, been First Order, been Republic, been Rebel, been Resistance. They get into talking about how from time to time some of them can remember flashes of their past that has been erased. C-3PO goes into talking about how he can remember parts of the Battle of Geonosis, he can remember parts of his time with Anakin, parts of the things leading up to where he is now, up to the point to where he is no longer a droid who is continually erased, but he is just who he is. The counterpart droid in this, the First Order droid, he too can remember things from his past. And along the way, these two have a bonding. And this bonding experience, sort of allows them to become friends because they are more sentient. And they talk about their level of sentience in Star Wars. They are more sentient like humans, which allows them to fulfill their functions better. Protocol droids like C-3PO or assassin droids like IG-88 all tend to have a higher level of consciousness than, say, a load lifter. As they travel along, they come to realize that they are more and more alike than they are different, and as all of the droids fall, eventually only C-3PO and his prisoner remain. Toward the end of the book, they reach where this transmitter is, and an acid rain begins to fall, which they both know is going to kill both of them. There is a crashed TIE fighter that they take refuge underneath. They realize that the refuge, too, is going to be destroyed by this acid rain. This droid, who is the prisoner of the New Republic, of the Resistance, and now C-3PO's friend, decides that he is going to sacrifice himself. He goes out into the acid rain and he has his coating washed off first off, which reveals that it's all red. Through the course of their travels, many of the droids that they're with, well, all of them are destroyed, and C-3PO loses his arm. And now, as we know, C-3PO has a red arm in Force Awakens. The First Order droid decides then that he is going to sacrifice himself and go out into the acid rain, and he activates the transmitter and is destroyed. Shortly after, Poe Dameron and the Resistance show up to pick 3PO up. He's missing an arm, but as he's going to the ship to go rejoin his shipmates, he takes the arm of this First Order droid, which is a red protocol droid arm, and decides that he is going to wear it as a reminder of all the droids who have fallen in the service of the wars that he has been a part of. To remember that he hasn't always just been who he is. He has lived many lives. And I think this is a really important thing for Star Wars droids. This is a really cool concept that, you know, these droids, they didn't always fight for the Resistance, they didn't always fight for the Rebellion, they didn't always fight for the Trade Federation, they didn't always fight for the Empire. They're droids. They could have been on one side or the other, they could have been on the same side, and that it was just the situation and their programming that made them enemies. And that's much like, you know, us in real life. It's our situation that makes us enemies of each other. And we all need to stop and take time and remember that we're all people. We all make our own decisions. We are not programmed. We are not droids. And we too can find friends amongst our enemies. Thanks again for watching. This has been issue 3, C-3PO, The Phantom Limb. Go pick it up. It's good. Like I said before, if there's any comics you'd like me to review, please post them in the comments section down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.